Well, could the Defence Force, and the federal government for that matter, could they have handled the Brereton Report into alleged SAS crimes any worse? The two have obviously been planning to make moves against our special forces well before last week's release of the actual report, because the moment it was released to the public with its redacted black spaces, they have both come down on our servicemen and women like a ton of bricks. Within a single week, 7 days, we've had apologies given to the Afghani government. We've had promises of criminal charges being laid through a special investigator. That's all well and good. But then, in the same week, plans to strip the entire unit of their meritorious medals, and yesterday, the sacking of 10 serving SAS personnel, which has grown to 13. Why has it become such an immediate priority to dismantle and denigrate the SAS? Now, there's obviously some universal agreement in the upper echelons of the ADF, maybe the government, to act as tough as you possibly can, as quickly as you possibly can. Almost some twisted political correctness to show how clean the army will be by matching the allegations with as much aggression and counter-attack as they can muster. Well, let me tell you, this approach is turning off the public big time. Now, I've read the emails every single night here. I've heard the backlash. It's disrespectful and wrong. This is not with people in the public domain. The public are saying you are being disrespectful. This is wrong towards our SAS. But today, the ADF sent out the Chief of Army, Lieutenant General Rick Burr, to address the media, as if what we'd already witnessed for the past 7 days wasn't enough. Well, there was no backing down. In fact, the number of show notice dismissals issued has now reached 13.
This whole process will take time, and we will do this work methodically, deliberately, and in accordance with established process. Again, I reiterate my confidence in the Australian Army. We are all committed to learning from the inquiry and emerging from this a stronger, more capable and effective army.
And that was all this press conference was about. Announcing an additional 3 show notices, cause notices released, and then we will clean up the army. But then Can
you tell me why you shouldn't resign?
There is a process to be followed here. We've received the inquiry 1 week ago. We need to follow a very deliberate, very methodical and very fair process, ensuring that we respect every individual's privacy and right of reply. This will take time. It took 4.5 years to work through this report. It was delivered 1 week ago, and we are now working through it.
Are there any commanders caught up in this that have been given notice?
I won't comment on any individuals or individual cases.
So no insight into whether those at the top, some of them who also received meritorious medals, by the way, would share any responsibility, which I think the public would expect that they should. We sent that unit into the most precariously dangerous scenarios repeatedly. As for the removal of medals, confirmation from the Lieutenant General that he shares that recommendation.
I support the logic of the recommendation in the report, which says that if we knew then what we know now, the unit would not have received or been put forward for a meritorious unit citation. There is now a process to be followed as we consider all of those recommendations for individual and collective awards, and we will follow that process in a proper and fair methodology and make sure that everyone's privacy is respected.
They are mishandling this. They are misreading the public as well. You don't start talking about medals until the prosecution process is over, the possibility of convictions go through an appeals court. You've got to wait till all that happens before you work out whether to take a medal from someone who at one stage deserved to have that medal. So how then do you preserve a proud legacy, which the SAS has, when you also intend to remove all their medals? You can't do both, surely. So therefore, as he removes the awards, how can he possibly say this?
So much good work was done by so many people in Afghanistan, and that is absolutely not forgotten on me. or anyone who has served there. We're all committed to making sure that that legacy is understood, is preserved, and we honour the sacrifice of so many, their commitment of so many over a sustained period of time. I acknowledge their service, the support of their families through this process. I acknowledge the fallen and pay my respects absolutely to those families. We will not forget them, and we will honour their legacy.
If the legacy is that good, why would you even consider taking medals away from people who have had nothing to do with any of these allegations of bad behaviour, even murder? Why would you even consider taking medals away from the other members of the SAS? You can't have it both ways. Either the SAS legacy is respected and it's preserved, and those that are not convicted keep their medals, or you just trash the SAS entirely. Again, I think the way this report is being handled is just too hasty and complete betrayal of what this unit achieved for the world, not just this country.